I should have known something was wrong the moment Monica started cooking. This woman, my wife, who considered preheating an oven to be an act of domestic oppression, was now in the kitchen, wearing an apron she didn't own, flipping pancakes like some sitcom housewife from the 1950s. "Good morning, sweetheart," she chirped, way too cheerful for a Tuesday. I made breakfast. I stared at the stack of perfectly golden pancakes. Real pancakes. Not the ones from the box she usually made, where the batter was either too thick to pour or so thin it leaked off the edge of the pan like a crime scene. No, these were restaurant-level pancakes. Symmetrical. Fluffy. The kind of pancakes that suggested either divine intervention or guilt. Monica hated cooking. She once burned a frozen pizza while following the directions on the box. And yet, here she was, flipping pancakes like she was auditioning for some Food Network show. Something was up. "You made breakfast?" I asked, sliding into my chair, half expecting a hidden camera crew to jump out and tell me I was being pranked. "Yep." She beamed. "Thought I'd do something nice for my amazing husband." My amazing husband status had been on a bit of a downward spiral lately. She'd been distant, distracted, acting weird. And now she was buttering me up, literally, with fresh pancakes. This was either an apology or a setup. "So, what's the occasion?" I took a bite. Darn it. They were good. Monica twirled a piece of hair around her finger, her usual tell when she was about to say something I wouldn't like. Can't a wife just do something sweet for her husband? No. She laughed a little too hard, then picked up her coffee and took a long sip, avoiding my eyes. Yeah, something was definitely up, and I was about to find out what. I put my fork down and looked at Monica, who was pretending to be fascinated by the salt shaker. That was her second tell. When she didn't want to talk about something, suddenly, everyday objects became the most interesting things in the world. Last week, when I asked why she kept coming home late, she spent a full 5 minutes examining a pen like it contained the secrets of the universe. "So," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Let's hear it." Monica blinked. "Hear what?" I gestured at the pancakes, the apron, the forced enthusiasm. "Whatever's coming next. The part where you tell me what you broke, who you ran over, or how much money you lost." She gasped, all fake offense. "Wow, so suspicious of your own wife. You spent our entire marriage making fun of people who wake up early to cook breakfast, and now suddenly you're Betty Crocker? I'd be suspicious if I wasn't married to you." She sighed, tapping her nails against the coffee mug. "Okay, if you must know, I have some news." There it was. The reason for the pancakes. Good news, or we need a lawyer news? I asked. "Good, of course." Monica smiled, which only made me more suspicious. This was the same woman who once told me she had great news, and then announced she'd accidentally adopted a second cat because he looked lonely. That's how we got Gary, who hates me and lives under the couch. I crossed my arms. "Go on." Monica's fingers curled around her coffee mug, gripping it like a lifeline. "So, do you remember my high school reunion?" I frowned. "The one you said you weren't going to?" "Well, technically I said I wasn't sure if I'd go." "No. You said, and I quote, 'I'd rather eat glass than spend a night with those idiots.'" She laughed, waving a hand. "Oh, come on. I was just being dramatic. You cried for 10 minutes last year because a waiter gave you the wrong salad dressing. You are dramatic." Monica rolled her eyes. "Anyway, I ended up going." "You ended up going?" I repeated. "Monica, that was 2 weeks ago. Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't think it was a big deal," she said, too casually. "And I didn't want to hear your 'I told you so' speech. First of all, I'd never give an 'I told you so' speech." She raised an eyebrow. "Fine," I admitted. "I would, but I still think it's weird you didn't mention it." Monica took a deep breath, like she was gathering courage. "Look, Tom, the thing is, I ran into someone there." I sat up straighter. "Here we go. An old friend," she added quickly. "Someone I hadn't seen in years." I nodded slowly. "Uh-huh." Monica hesitated. "You, might remember him. Jack?" Jack. The name bounced around my head until it hit something. And when it did, it wasn't good. "Jack? As in your ex-boyfriend Jack?" Her smile was too tight. Technically, yes. But, oh, fantastic, I said. So, you ended up going to the reunion you swore you'd never attend, didn't tell me, and accidentally ran into the one guy I specifically remember you calling the biggest mistake of my life. Tom, I'm just checking for accuracy, I said. Did I miss anything? Did you also adopt another cat while you were at it? Monica exhaled sharply, pushing her plate away. Can you be serious for 5 seconds? Oh, I'm very serious. I'm fascinated. I can't wait to hear why this required bribing me with suspiciously good pancakes. She rubbed her temples. Look, I didn't expect to see him there. And we got to talking, and I don't know. It was nice to catch up. Nice to catch up? I repeated. Monica, the last time you mentioned Jack, it was in a story about how he got arrested for breaking into a pool supply store. That was a long time ago, she snapped. People change. Do they? I said. Because last I checked, you still refuse to eat leftovers, and I still haven't won a single argument in this marriage. Seems like people stay exactly the same. Monica's jaw tightened. Fine. If you're going to be like this, I won't tell you the rest. There's more? She groaned. Okay, look. Jack and I had dinner. I blinked. Dinner? Yes. You and Jack had dinner. Yes. While I was at home watching a documentary about cheese. I didn't plan it. He asked if I wanted to grab food and, I don't know, it felt rude to say no. Right, I said. Because politeness is the foundation of all great decisions. She glared at me. It wasn't a big deal. You mean like how you didn't think the reunion was a big deal? Or how you didn't think mentioning Jack was a big deal? Or how? I get it, she interrupted, throwing her hands up. You think it's suspicious. Gee, Monica, whatever gave you that idea? She sighed. It was one dinner, okay? We just talked about our lives, work, dumb high school memories. That's it. I leaned back in my chair. Did you tell him you were married? Yes. Before or after the appetizers? Before. Did he seem happy to hear that? Monica hesitated. And there it was. The tiny pause that turned suspicion into certainty. I exhaled slowly. Monica. She looked at the table, fiddling with a crumb. I think he was surprised. I nodded. Uh-huh. Maybe a little disappointed, she admitted. But I held up a hand. Stop. I already know where this is going. Monica groaned. No, you don't, because nothing happened. Yet, I muttered. She shot me a look. I stared at her. Monica, are you? I stopped, shaking my head. You know what? Forget it. She crossed her arms. What? Nothing. No, say it. I met her eyes, my stomach churning. Are you seeing him again? She hesitated. That was all the answer I needed. I let the silence sit between us for a moment, letting her marinate in it like the world's worst piece of chicken. Monica tapped her fingers on the table, her usual move when she was uncomfortable, but trying to act like everything was normal. It was a terrible strategy, considering she was tapping at a speed that suggested she was either nervous or communicating in Morse code. So, I said, dragging out the word. That hesitation back there. Was that the part where you were deciding between the truth and whatever lie you think I might actually believe? Monica rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, Tom. Don't come on, Tom me. Are you seeing Jack again? She crossed her arms. What if I am? I blinked. Well, I'd love to hear the explanation that follows that incredibly dumb question. It's not what you think. Oh, good, I said. Because what I think is that my wife has been sneaking around with her ex and lying about it. But if it's actually something worse, by all means, enlighten me. Monica exhaled sharply, like I was the difficult one here. Look, I didn't tell you about the reunion because I knew you'd act like this. Oh, you mean like a husband whose wife is acting suspicious and keeps lying about it? What an unreasonable reaction. She let out an irritated noise, like she was trying to swat my words away like a fly. Jack and I reconnected. That's all. He reached out a few days after the reunion, and we got coffee. Then dinner. And yeah, we've been talking. I leaned forward. Define talking. Monica's jaw tightened. I laughed, shaking my head. Wow. You really think I'm an idiot? I didn't say that, she snapped. You don't have to say it. It's implied when you're sitting here acting like I should be totally fine with you having secret dinners and coffee dates with the guy you swore up and down you never wanted to see again. She threw up her hands. We're just friends. Oh, sure you are. And I'm an astronaut. Monica groaned. Tom, I didn't do anything wrong, except for the lying, and the sneaking around, and the fact that you're acting guilty as hell while trying to tell me I should be totally cool with this. She glared at me. So, what, I'm not allowed to have friends now? Of course, you can have friends. You just can't have this one. Monica shook her head. You're being ridiculous. I snorted. Right. So, if I started suddenly meeting up with an ex in secret and conveniently forgetting to tell you about it, you'd be totally fine with it? She hesitated. Exactly. Her face flushed. That's different. I clapped my hands. Oh, there it is. The worst possible defense in the history of bad defenses. Monica stood up, pushing her chair back aggressively like she was about to deliver some dramatic speech. Instead, she just pointed at me. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Oh, am I? So, help me scale it back. What's the appropriate amount of proportion for finding out your wife is sneaking around with her ex? I told you. No, Monica, you didn't tell me. You told me after I caught you. Big difference. She exhaled through her nose like a bull preparing to charge. I knew you wouldn't understand. I blinked. I understand just fine. I just don't like it. Monica crossed her arms again. Her go-to move when she was trying to look in control. You're making a big deal out of nothing. I nodded. Ah, yes. Classic move number 2. Telling the person you betrayed that they're overreacting. She groaned again, rubbing her temples. Jack and I just talk. That's all. Uh-huh. And what exactly do you talk about? Monica hesitated again. I sighed, standing up. You know what? Forget it. She narrowed her eyes. Forget what? Forget this conversation. Forget me pretending like I don't already know what's going on. Forget me acting like I haven't seen this exact scenario play out in 100 other stories. Monica scoffed. Oh, please. What stories? I spread my arms. Oh, I don't know. My wife suddenly starts acting weird, gets real secretive, and then when confronted, insists it's all just a misunderstanding kind. That one's been a bestseller for centuries. She scowled. You think I'm cheating? I laughed. Monica, at this point, I don't think anything. I know. She shook her head furiously. I haven't. Yet. She sucked in a sharp breath. That's not fair. Neither is being married to someone who's treating our relationship like an optional hobby. Monica flinched, but I wasn't in the mood to soften the blow. I grabbed my plate, taking one last look at the half-eaten pancakes. The one she made because she thought she could sweeten me up before dropping this on me. Should have burned them, Monica. At least that would have been believable. I walked over to the sink, dumped the plate, and turned back to her. Tell me something. She crossed her arms tighter. What? I tilted my head. When were you planning on telling me? Her jaw clenched. Next week? Next month? Or were you just going to let me figure it out on my own when he started leaving stuff in our house? She shook her head. It's not like that. I smirked. You keep saying that, but every single thing about this is like that. Monica pressed her lips together. I exhaled, rolling my shoulders. So, what happens now? She frowned. What do you mean? I let out a humorless laugh. Oh, come on. You're not that clueless. You made a choice. Now I get to make mine. Monica's eyes darted around like she was searching for an exit sign. I stepped forward. Do you want to be married to me, Monica? Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I raised my eyebrows. That bad, huh? You don't even have an answer? She looked at the floor. I don't know. I nodded. Got it. Monica's head snapped up. That's not what I meant. I shrugged. Doesn't matter. If your first instinct isn't yes, then I don't need to hear the rest. She swallowed hard. I turned toward the hallway, my mind already racing through the next steps. Behind me, Monica spoke again. Tom. I held up a hand. Save it. She let out a shaky breath. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my wallet and keys, and took one last look at the place we built together. Then, without another word, I left. I wasn't angry. Not in the way people expect. No yelling, no dramatic exits, no cinematic speeches about betrayal. If anything, I felt oddly calm. Like a guy watching a movie where he already knew the ending but was sticking around just to see how bad it got. Monica had made her choice. Now, it was my turn. The thing about being married is that you learn everything about a person. Their habits, their weaknesses, the little things they don't even realize they're giving away. And Monica? She was an open book. She just assumed I wasn't paying attention. Big mistake. I didn't storm off to a bar. I didn't sit in my car staring at the dashboard like some heartbroken fool in a country song. Instead, I took a detour. To the bank. See, Monica wasn't great with money. She liked the idea of being independent, of having her own things, but she never quite mastered the part where she actually handled financial responsibility. Bills? Autopay? Budgeting? Not her problem. Retirement savings? That was a future Monica issue. And because of that, she had exactly 2 financial lifelines. Me and our joint account. So, step 1. I removed my name from that account. Step 2. I made sure every single bill under my name was paid in full for me. Our internet, utilities, everything that ran through our house. I set up new accounts in my name only, leaving hers untouched. The mortgage? Moved to my private account. Car insurance? Split immediately. Monica was about to find out how expensive life could be when someone stopped managing it for her. Then came step 3. Her job wasn't bad, exactly, but it was the kind of job that people convince themselves is fine while secretly hating it. She worked at a small marketing firm, where she mostly sat in meetings pretending to take notes. The thing she never mentioned was that the firm had exactly one major client keeping the lights on. A client I happened to know. Personally. See, years ago, I'd done some consulting work for their company, helping them restructure after a messy merger. In the process, I got to know the CEO, a guy named Greg, who had a long memory and an even longer list of people he didn't trust. And Greg? He hated office drama. So, I gave him a call. "Tom, been a while," Greg said, his voice booming through the phone. "What's up?" "Not much," I said, keeping it casual. "Just figured I'd check in. A little small talk, a few jokes, and then I slipped it in. By the way," I said, "you guys still working with that marketing firm?" Greg made a noise like he was chewing on a pin. "Yeah, why?" I shrugged. "No reason. Just heard some, interesting stuff." Greg perked up. "Oh." And just like that, I let it all spill. Not in a direct way. No accusations, no pointing fingers. Just enough vague concern to make Greg rethink his relationship with Monica's firm. "Look, man," I said, "I'd hate to see you guys tied up in something messy. You know how office relationships can get complicated." Greg grunted. "That is a headache I don't need." Exactly. 2 days later, Monica's firm lost their biggest client. 3 days after that, she lost her job. And then came the fun part. Monica wasn't a details person. She didn't check statements, didn't track expenses. She just assumed that money would always be there, like electricity or gravity. So, when she went to pay for something and her card got declined, that was the moment she realized something was very wrong. She called me, of course. "Tom," she said, her voice tight, "my card isn't working." "Oh," I said, pretending to be surprised. "That's weird. What did you do?" I shrugged, even though she couldn't see me. "Just made some adjustments. You know, figured since you're independent now, you'd want financial freedom too." There was a long pause. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." She sputtered. "But what about the bills?" "Oh, don't worry. My bills are covered." Silence. "Tom," she said slowly, "I don't have enough money to cover the mortgage." "Yeah," I said. "That does sound like a problem. You can't just—" "Oh, I can," I said. And I did. More silence. "You're being petty," she hissed. "No, Monica," I said, my voice calm. "I'm being smart. See, I figured if you had time for secret dinners and reconnecting with old flames, you'd have time to figure out how to pay for your own life too." She inhaled sharply, probably about to say something else, but I didn't give her the chance. Good luck with that, I said, then hung up. And just like that, Monica got her independence. She just hadn't realized how much it was going to cost her. Monica called again the next morning, then again that afternoon. By the evening, she had downgraded from demanding explanations to leaving long, rambling voicemails full of carefully rehearsed guilt-tripping. Tom, this is insane. You can't just pull the rug out from under me like this. We have responsibilities. You can't just walk away from everything we built together. That part almost made me laugh. We built? No, Monica. I built. She had just enjoyed the benefits while assuming the foundation would never crack beneath her. Her next call was shorter, angrier. I just checked my email. My car insurance got canceled. What the hell, Tom? I didn't answer. I just smiled, stretched out on my couch, the couch I'd moved to my new apartment 3 days ago. Monica, in all her planning, had apparently failed to consider one small detail. I wasn't an idiot. See, the thing about revenge is that people expect it to be loud. They think it comes with shouting matches and broken plates, with dramatic speeches and storming out. But real revenge? The good kind? It's quiet. It's precise. It's systematic. And it had started weeks ago. While Monica was busy playing the innocent wife, reconnecting with an old friend, I had been making moves of my own. Not out of spite. At least, not just spite. But because I knew exactly where this was heading. The moment I saw that hesitation in her face, I knew she had already decided how this story would end. She just thought she was the one holding the pin. So, I took the pin away. Step 1 had been the finances. I cut every tie, rerouted every account, and left her with only what she had brought into the marriage, which, considering her spending habits, wasn't much. Step 2? I left her the house. That's right. I didn't fight for it. I didn't demand she move out. I simply walked away, because Monica, for all her confidence, had never actually handled anything related to that house. The mortgage? Under my name. The utilities? Paid through my accounts. The property taxes? Handled automatically through my bank. And as of last week, those things were no longer her problem. They were Jack's. Because if Monica wanted to play house with her old flame, then it was only fair that she got the full experience. Which led to step 3, a little paperwork magic. A week before I left, I quietly removed myself from the mortgage, transferring the responsibility solely to Monica. Then, with an absolutely innocent smile, I forwarded the information to our lender, who wasted no time in reviewing Monica's financial situation. Let's just say they weren't impressed. By the time she realized what had happened, she was in a house she couldn't afford, with bills she couldn't pay, and a bank that was very eager to speak with her about her severely lacking qualifications as a homeowner. Jack, naturally, hadn't signed up for this. He had signed up for nostalgia, for the thrill of rekindling an old flame. He wasn't looking to suddenly become the primary financial provider for a woman whose biggest budgeting skill was finding new excuses for online shopping. Their first official argument as a couple happened exactly 4 days after I left. Monica, of course, called me about it. Tom, she snapped the moment I answered, this is your fault. Oh, I said, casually eating a sandwich. Do tell. You just left. You didn't even try to fix this. I took a thoughtful bite. Oh, I don't know, Monica. I think I did exactly what you wanted. You wanted space? You got it. You wanted independence? Consider it delivered. She let out a sharp breath. You know what I mean. No, I said. Let's be clear. You knew what you meant. You just never said it out loud. Because you liked the idea of keeping me around while you decided whether or not to ruin my life. That's not fair. I smiled. Neither is sneaking around with your ex. There was a long silence. Then she tried a new tactic. We don't have to do this, Tom. We can be civil. We can talk this through like adults. Oh, absolutely. Let's talk. Let's talk about how you're planning to pay that next mortgage bill. Or how your new boyfriend is adjusting to suddenly being the responsible one in the relationship. Or how you. Jack left. That one actually made me pause mid-bite. I swallowed. I'm sorry, what? She sighed heavily, and for the first time in this whole ordeal, she actually sounded tired. Jack left. Said he didn't sign up for all this. He packed his stuff and disappeared 2 days ago. I leaned back in my chair, letting that sink in. Jack, the high school sweetheart. Jack, the great romance Monica just had to explore again. Jack, who had swooped in at the perfect moment, whispering sweet nothings about how they were meant to be together. Gone. I grinned. Well, I said, that's hilarious. Monica didn't laugh. You think this is funny? She snapped. Oh, absolutely, I said. You traded in a stable life for a high school fantasy, and now that fantasy realized that mortgages exist and ran for the hills. If this was a TV show, I'd be standing up and applauding. Monica made an irritated noise. You don't have to be such a... Careful, I warned. She stopped. I continued. You know what the best part is? I didn't do anything to Jack. I didn't have to. He walked away all on his own. Which means, for once, Monica, you actually have to take responsibility for your own choices. She exhaled sharply. I don't need a lecture, Tom. No, what you need is a new place to live, because if I were you, I'd start packing before the bank kicks you out. Silence. I smiled. Good luck with that. Then, just as before, I hung up. Monica had made her choice, and now she was finally dealing with the consequences. Monica didn't call for a few days after that, probably because she was busy scrambling. You know, trying to negotiate with the bank, trying to figure out how bills worked, trying to keep up the illusion that her life wasn't actively circling the drain. I pictured her watching YouTube tutorials on how to pay a mortgage when you don't have money, while eating dry cereal straight from the box. Meanwhile, I was having a great time. Turns out, leaving behind a marriage full of secrets and nonsense does wonders for your stress levels. My new apartment was smaller, but it was quiet. No random sighs of disapproval. No passive-aggressive dish placement. No, why don't you ever listen lectures that somehow lasted twice as long as the thing I supposedly didn't listen to in the first place. I even got a pet. Not a cat, because I had enough bad experiences with Monica's disaster of a cat, Gary, but a fish. Low maintenance, doesn't ask dumb questions, and if it ever cheats on me, it's at least got the decency to do it quietly. Then, just as I was getting used to the bliss of a Monica-free life, she texted, Monica, we need to talk. I stared at the message, thought about ignoring it, then thought about how much fun it would be to not ignore it. Me? About what? A full 5 minutes passed before she responded. Monica, don't do that. You know what? I smirked. Me? I really don't. Can you be more specific? Another long pause. Monica, I don't have anywhere to go. There it is. The final stage of the Monica experience. The desperate plea for help. I debated my next move. I could drag this out, make her explain exactly what she did wrong in excruciating detail. But that would require engaging with her more than necessary, and frankly, I had better things to do, like staring at my fish. So instead, I went for a simpler approach. Me, not my problem. This time, she called. I let it ring. Then she called again, and again. And because I have just enough pettiness left in me to enjoy a dramatic moment, I picked up on the fourth call. Monica, I said, my voice relaxed. What a surprise. She exhaled sharply. Tom, can you stop being difficult for 5 seconds? I don't know, I said, thinking about it. That sounds like a you problem. Seriously? Seriously. A beat of silence. Then, in a tone that suggested she was really trying to sell this, she said, I know we've had our issues, but we've been in each other's lives for years. That's not nothing. I laughed. Oh, I completely agree. It's less than nothing. Tom. No, really, I said. It's impressive how you've managed to take something that could have meant something and turn it into absolutely nothing in record time. If I were you, I'd put that on my resume. She sighed. Can you drop the attitude? I leaned back on my couch. Can you drop the expectation that I owe you anything? Another pause. I get it, she said, voice tight. You're mad. Mad. I repeated, genuinely amused. Oh, no. Mad was weeks ago. Right now, I'm enjoying myself. She groaned. Fine. You want to be petty? Go ahead. But I really need help, Tom. And that's a real shame, I said. I bet you wish you had a loving, Supportive husband right about now? Silence. I can't believe you, she muttered. I smiled. Oh, Monica, that's the first honest thing you've said in a long time. And then, just as before, I hung up. Later that night, I got another text. Monica, I messed up. I stared at it. Not an apology, just a statement. A weak attempt at drawing me into some late-night emotional breakdown so she could shift the weight of her mistakes onto me. Me? Yeah, you did. Then I blocked her number. And just like that, Monica became a problem for someone else. Thanks for watching. Rate the story in the comments. Subscribe to the channel